The Huntsville Division of the Army Corps of Engineers was founded in 1967 with, really one single mission, and that was to manage the design and construction of all the facilities associated with the Army's Sentinel ballistic missile defense system. So this was really a massive undertaking and what it envisioned was hardened facilities and missile command centers and missile silos that would be able to permit the United States to survive and respond to a Soviet nuclear attack. So with the division's efforts in the ballistic missile defense program winding down in the early 70s, and of course this is still missile defense for our nation is still one of our areas of expertise, and we still support the Missile Defense Agency today. But in the early 70s, after the SALT Treaty was signed and our mission wound down, we began to transition to a very diverse set of programs. But all these programs involved a set of characteristics which relate back to the charter for our organization. A couple examples of the missions that we were assigned in the early 70s were the design and construction of ammunition plants for the Army's munition production program. Another example would be design and construction of test facilities for NASA and the Space Shuttle program. So we took the numerous areas of expertise that we had from the ballistic missile defense program and began to transition that to large-scale national and international programs. So in the 1980s, then we were assigned the role of Corps Manager for a number of programs that used to be managed out of our USACE headquarters. We were transitioning from a design and construction organization to really a high-tech engineering organization. And some of the notable programs that were assigned in the 80s were medical facilities, design services, Army range modernization, and the chemical munitions demilitarization program. And in the 1990s, the Army Corps of Engineers went through a big realignment of all its divisions, and the Huntsville Division became the U.S. Army Engineering and Support Center in Huntsville. So in other words, we became known as the Huntsville Center. And our portfolio of programs and customers continued to grow. And today we have some 40 different programs that were assigned. And all these programs, the underpinning of all these programs is our 10 centers of expertise.
We have senior engineering personnel that are technical experts in, I would say, niche areas. And those are, when I say niche areas, those are areas where most Corps of Engineers districts do not have the technical capability to do that type of work. An example of that would be designing ranges, live fire ranges for the Army and the Marine Corps to practice, shooting Abrams tanks in a, let's say, a live fire scenario on an installation, or right down to shooting a rifle range or having an urban assault course to train special forces units. We have expertise in electronic security systems and utility monitor control systems that protect, say, a building from a chemical agent attack, or are able to control a fire protection system in case of a terrorist attack or a scenario like that. Of course, the Medical Center of Expertise is a cadre of experts that design all the military construction hospitals or oversee the design of them to make sure that they meet all the specialized criteria for a military hospital. And then we have, of course, a group that supports the Ordnance and Explosive Military Munitions Center of Expertise.
When the Defense Environmental and Restoration Program started in the early 80s with the cleanup of formerly used defense sites, there was not a lot of expertise in the Corps of Engineers to clean up ordnance-contaminated sites. Huntsville, based on our history and our experience, had that expertise. So we were assigned the national mission for the cleanup of formerly used defense sites, and through that we supported the districts that have geographic assignments for these sites in getting them done. And And in our center of expertise is involved from the very beginning with the planning, with the remedial investigation and feasibility study, all the way through the closeout of the site. And we do that in a partnership with the district.
We are now actively or heavily involved with Afghanistan. We're supporting U.S. forces Afghanistan with mobile mine clearance teams all over the country that are clearing ground for base expansion and the forward operating base expansion work that's going on. And these are all Afghan mine clearance teams under one of our contractors, EODT. And they're doing an excellent job of clearing this ground so that the bases can expand and we can get better facilities for our soldiers. The other thing that we're doing right now is Bagram Airfield, and we're doing all the mine clearance within the wire right now at Bagram Airfield. That was the primary Soviet air base during the 1970s, and they heavily mined that whole area. So there are a lot of places on Bagram that have minefields still within the wire that are just roped off or fenced off so that soldiers can't get into them. We are now in there clearing all that ground for them with contractor so that they can do military construction work, expand the base, and provide adequate facilities for the soldiers. So we're clearing up all these mines and getting these things cleared. We're also assisting the forces there in Afghanistan with some environmental work, helping them stand some of those things up so that we can prepare ourselves for the eventual drawdown in Afghanistan and be able to clean up the messes that are being made on some of the bases. We're getting ready to stand up a mission called Joint Munitions Disposal Program. It's basically a condition code H or unserviceable ammunition type disposal operation similar to what we had in Iraq. We're getting ready to stand that up now in Afghanistan to take care of all NATO ammunition in country. So that's pretty much where we're at with Afghanistan, and we're still making contacts. There's still a lot of opportunities there, and the Army is they're calling in more and more to us every day about what can you do, can you help us do this, help us do that. And so my thought here is if I can't do it, I will find somebody that can support the Army. So we'll go out and find the right people to help if it's not within my mission lane.
For the last 20-some years, we've been doing the administration of construction contracts and design for all of the incineration plants, all of the alternate technology plants, and all of the, we call the assembled chemical weapons plants, which is a grand total of 11, as well as the Russian DMIL. That's been our biggest mission in the last 20 years. And we also do, right now we're venturing into some other work on biohazard threats for our Defense Threat Reduction Agency customer.
We provide good designs. We provide safe designs. We provide good service. You're going to get your project done and on time and on budget.
The Medical Facilities Design Center of Expertise was established because really of the recognition that this is very specialized expertise for medical facilities, and we don't build a lot of hospitals everywhere in the Corps. So if we centralize the expertise in one place, it can most effectively support the Army in the execution of design and construction of new medical facilities.
MRR is the Medical Repair and Renewal Program, and what we do is perform repair and renewal projects for primarily DoD medical facilities throughout the U.S. We also support VA, which is a non-DoD customer, but the support there is on a limited basis. So our repair and renewal activities consist of anything from completely gutting a dental clinic and renewing that to renovation of a ward of a hospital. We even do some minor construction that's under the statutory limit. In the past, we've built a vet clinic within the statutory limit, so that's new construction. But our focus is the sustainment, restoration, and modernization, also known as our SRM world. And again, our focus is primarily the U.S. We are putting new contracts in place that will allow us to support OCONUS activities as well.
Where we're focused right now on a strategic outlook, that our most pressing need is to adapt to the requirements for energy security and sustainment on our installations and in our Army.
Actually, the whole federal government is one of the biggest consumers of energy, in our domestic region, and so we do need to lead the way, set the goals for what other private industry can do. The other is that the Department of Defense has such an influence over those, they can actually enforce those things so that we really do lead the way. rather than it being purely voluntary. The real goal, people often get energy savings confused with dollars, and that's a good point to make that distinction, is that we really do need to be aware that there is a limit to the availability of fossil fuels. We really need to know that we need to find other, renewable resources or alternate energy sources to use in lieu of those, to just save them for the generations to follow.
My job is to actually try to facilitate or help facilitate the deployment process. If someone wanted to deploy, they would come here first and talk to me about what it is they want to do. I would get an idea of whether or not that's something we need based on different updates we get weekly from headquarters, and I would go out there and try to find a job for them.
The Housing Planning and Response Team, it's a team that's pre-established. We have a list of volunteers that have signed up to do this mission, and they're trained ahead of time. We actually have a primary, alternate, and a backup team, so there's 3 echelons of support there. And what they do is, if there's a natural disaster and the Corps tasks us, we will go out and we'll establish housing for the displaced personnel. And that could range anything from building and establishing trailer parks to renting hotels or apartments or things like that for the people to move into.
Say, for instance, Hurricane, Katrina, any kind of natural disaster where, people's lives has been totally disrupted, this team will be the one that actually goes in and rebuild the community, basically, either whether it's housing or city halls or schools or businesses, whatever it may be. This team is responsible for going in and pretty much rebuilding the whole community.
I was compelled to help out folks in our vicinity, especially in our backyard of Alabama. So I raised my hand and to help out with the debris mission. The Huntsville Center is a non-traditional, like a Corps district. We have our own unique missions, but still we are the Corps of Engineers, and we want to do our part to help, and we do stand up and raise our hands to volunteer for such an effort.
I'm not really looking forward to going out on a mission, because I tell folks all the time that if you're going out on a mission, that means someone's suffering. And I don't necessarily want someone to be suffering for us to get our experience. If we never get a chance to go out, that'd be fine with me. That means obviously work needed, everything is well for everybody, but if we go out, it means somebody's suffering. So don't necessarily want that.